We are standing on Highway 131 in Ontario. It's actually a little bit better than when I was here earlier around noon. But if you take a look, this park, which you can't even really see, is still completely underwater. We've got a shed down there that's off its foundation, a swing set that, again, you can't really see. Just to kind of give you an idea of how bad it is, I'm going to take you guys to the other side where we've got a couple of canoes that are sort of floating in the water, at least 3 different canoe businesses that are also sitting in water. When I was here earlier around noon, I wouldn't have been able to stand here. I mean, the water would have probably been up to here on me. So the water, again, is receding. But look, this is what they have to deal with now. So cleanup efforts are well underway. I did speak to some supporters of Trump who tell me that they think that he's doing good things for the country. I also spoke to people who are not in support of President Trump, protesters who were marching in downtown Rochester today. If you've been driving down Main Street in La Crosse over the last couple of weeks, you may have noticed these purple ribbons tied around the trees. These ribbons represent Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Hey guys, so we've been talking about it all day. Since 6 o'clock in the morning, the United Service Organization has been out here collecting donations for troops who are oftentimes traveling to Fort McCoy, waiting at the La Crosse Regional Airport. Take a look at this. I'm standing on the levee right now at Riverside Park. Riverfest starts on Wednesday. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. What a lot of people don't realize is it takes 1 whole year to set up and prepare for this popular tradition. Now, although the volunteers were hoping for a warmer day, they tell me they'd be out here no matter what. When I was here earlier around noon, there were $150 worth of cash donations. Now, there's more than 1,000. It's just truly incredible. Good evening and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Sarah Thamer. The Trump administration is calling it a big win that will boost the U.S. economy. A log rolling tournament is hoping to inspire a new generation of rollers. On the audio, President Trump expresses surprises over her firing. Vernon County residents are coming together to help one family rebuild their farm after it was destroyed by flooding a little more than a month ago. An explosion rocked the Sun Prairie community last night. The gas line explosion leveled several buildings, sparking fires and evacuations. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, NewsAid obtained records. They show 20 reports of child abuse, child neglect, and false imprisonment cases dating as far back as 2009. It's important to note they were never charged in any of those cases. I spoke with a Monroe County sheriff today who explains why it took years for the Hedricks to be arrested.
I've been in law enforcement for 35 years, and I've never seen a case like this.
Monroe County Sheriff Scott Perkins says he's seen a lot in his line of work, but this case in particular.
Shocked. I was shocked.
Tops anything else.
Yes.
According to the criminal complaint, Amy and Travis Hedrick were arrested on August 24th for multiple counts of second-degree recklessly endangering safety, neglecting a child, and false imprisonment. 4 of the children in this case are adopted by the couple, and 1 is their biological child. The complaint describes children being zip-tied in horse troughs, held underwater until they were almost unresponsive, and beaten until they were bruised. According to these records, though, the Hedricks were reported for similar cases between 2010 and 2015, during a time they were fostering children. About 20 of the reports involved child abuse and false imprisonment.
We investigated all these complaints.
Sheriff Scott Perkins says the department took each case seriously, but there was never probable cause for a search warrant.
Every complaint was either not deemed unfounded or not truth. There was no truth to it.
He says they investigated each case by interviewing the children involved, many who were foster children at the time.
These kids have been preached and trained how to answer questions.
He says for years, the department did what it could, but without enough evidence for a search warrant.
That is the biggest issue we have.
They simply had to follow the law.
When the children are saying nothing's going on, and that's with Human Services and the Sheriff's Office investigating it, we cannot make up anything. We have to go with what we're being told.
But for the first time on August 24th, there was probable cause. Picture evidence which News 8 has chosen to only show part of due to its graphic nature. Sheriff Perkins says that picture, along with other evidence, was enough to get a search warrant.
And that's how we were able to get into the residence.
The children who the Hedricks adopted were homeschooled. According to the criminal complaint, the Hedricks may have been fostering and adopting children, some with disabilities, to receive money. They had built their new house in Mulvina about a year ago. Director of Human Services in Monroe County told me he cannot comment on this case specifically due to privacy laws, but he did answer questions that may help give the community a better understanding of just why it took years for Amy and Travis Hedrick to be arrested.
There's a pretty rigorous process that individuals have to go through.
In an interview with News 8, Director of Monroe County Human Services Ron Hamilton explained the typical practices and procedures coordinators are required to follow before placing children in foster homes.
It's an extensive history, including background checks, criminal checks, sex offender checks, even financial checks.
Although Hamilton could not answer questions specifically about Monroe County couple Amy and Travis Hedrick and their alleged child neglect case, he was able to offer some insight for why the couple was able to foster and adopt for years, despite their long history of alleged child abuse.
Are you confident that in your 17 years of working here, you have truly looked into the background of each and every single foster parent?
I can say of the homes that we license, I confidently can say that we've done that. In homes that we don't license, we are not involved.
Are you implying that the individuals I'm referring to were not licensed in your county?
I think there's a conclusion that can be drawn.
Is that a yes or no?
We haven't licensed that home. I really can't give out any more information.
As I reported initially, Amy and Travis Hedrick were arrested on August 24th for multiple counts of second-degree recklessly endangering safety, neglecting a child, and false imprisonment. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, I found they were reported for at least 20 cases of child abuse and neglect between 2009 and 2015, but they were never charged due to a lack of evidence. Hamilton says although the Hedricks were not licensed by Monroe County to foster children, as long as they are licensed by another agency, they are able to foster in Monroe County. He says this is common when there is a need for foster care. And while foster parents don't have to be licensed by Monroe County, Hamilton says he and his staff may be more vigilant moving forward.
I think we will have some heightened awareness for quite some time, and we're going to want to make sure that our kids are in safe placements.
Monroe County has 34 licensed foster homes, but not all of them are currently fostering children. Hamilton tells me 8 of the 32 social workers and case managers are involved in child protective services. When asked about visits to the homes, he says the majority of monthly visits are announced unless there is an investigation. Several high schools in our area, including Central High School in La Crosse, honored students and teachers in Florida by walking out of school this morning. They wanted to remember those who lost their lives while also sending an important message to lawmakers. They say now more than ever, they want to see change.
I don't want to be scared to go to school.
17 minutes
It's not about politics.
of silence
It's about our safety.
to remember.
I was very emotional.
The 17 lives lost on February 14th at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
We're not going to sit idly and watch our fellow students across America be killed.
Central High School students say the message is simple.
I come to school and my classmates are worried that something's going to happen to them.
School should not be a place to fear.
I've messaged my mom. That's not a message I have to send to my mom, that I love her.
But on this day, they're choosing strength.
It's great to see that so many young people are standing with us.
Students say the protest may be silent, but the reason is loud and clear.
A kid that is 17 years old, finds a way to get a gun, or when you're old enough to get a gun, you need to have a thorough background.
They say being pro-gun legislation and supporting gun rights is not mutually exclusive.
I am actually a Second Amendment supporter. I believe that, everybody does have the right to bear arms, but I also believe students have the right to go to school safely without the threat of being shot.
I'm not anti-gun. My dad is in the military. He owns several different guns. He legally can own them. I have no problem with that.
Central High School students say they're walking walking out because they feel affected by school tragedies across the country. And while the simple act of walking out won't necessarily bring immediate change, they're hoping those 17 minutes of silence can start a real conversation on change.
Nobody wants to go to school and be killed because of it.
Not every student participated in today's walkout. We did ask Central High School if we can go inside of the buildings to get that perspective from students that chose not to walk out, but they said that they wanted to make sure that they kept the school inside a safe space for students.